Hello everyone, welcome back to CSS learning. So last week we have learned combinator. So like you see on my screen, we have learned the nav, ul, lia. So these are using the HTML element, and then we combine it into one like a combinator. So that will be element combinator, and also we have a class start with the dot. So that will be class combinator, and the pseudo class combinator or selector, and also like attribute selector or combinator. So we say combinator because we can mix it with the 2-3 selectors, because in CSS the selectors are very important. In HTML semantic element is a big topic. It's the same in CSS. We need to learn the selectors. If we do not know how to select it, so that will be a problem with the applying our CSS rules. So that's what we have learned, part 1 tutorial, part 2 tutorial. So please make sure to check it out. So this week, so that will be my lesson content, that part 3 CSS learning. So we're gonna talk about the color. What are the basic color values? So we have a color name or color keyword, and also in in web or digital, so we will have this RGB. That will be our basic or a foundation color. So we're gonna use the RGB to our hex value and HSL. So that will be a different color technique that we're gonna apply and learn. And also transparency, we need to talk about it. So what is the transparency? And then RGBA, so that will be adding a alpha value, so we were gonna learn about it. And also the different use cases, we're gonna use our color to text and a fill, stroke, gradient, and also we can do the pattern, and also the shadow and inner shadow and the blending mode. So I will talk about it. So it's a lot, but so we will squeeze into one tutorial. So that will be, you have a little bit takeaway in this tutorial. And also I will show you how to use a Visual Studio Code color picker, so that it will be really a fast and speedy, So, and also the Figma, I want to show you that Figma is a really popular tool to use website design, UI, UX. And also at the end, if I have the time, so I'm going to set up one variable so that we can quickly apply our color theme. So if we want to change it, so we don't have to write several codes, So that will be setting the color variables in your CSS. That's what we're going to learn today, guys. So to get started in my Visual Studio Code, so if you have started in this tutorial, I think it will be a little bit tough because you have to follow along, So do not mix if you want to learn it, so do not skip it. So start from HTML, so one by one, and also the CSS, so that we have a little bit. This is a ongoing series. So even my coding in my HTML, all these are ongoing series, So I did not give the code to download it because I want you to really watch it and then to learn things to take away, So okay guys, so today color in CSS, so to get started, I will use my dialog box to apply the color, so that so we have a lot of element, we can select it, but the selecting elements is we have already learned. It's the same. So once we learn the basic CSS color properties and values, so it's the same thing. We can just change our a selector to apply it. It will be the same. So that's why I will start with the dialog. So if you want to select any element in HTML, so I have a dialog element here. So that's why I can just start typing dialog element here, and then start with the curly brace in CSS. And now, so we already know that. So I've been using a color. So in CSS, if you say color, so color will always apply to the text, let's say. And also when I say color and then I press tab key, now the a different list pop up, So Alice blue, aqua, so azure, so beige, and the black, blue, all these are the in my lesson content. Like I said, these are the color name or color keyword. So what so that's a list. If you have a name in your memory, let's say I just say a sky blue, so you can just type in any color name. So if there's a building a color value, it will pop it. So now you see the sky blue is included, so that's why you see the name in front. We have this color block. This color block is important. If there is a no name, let's say I just say so the I mean, like, so for instance, you know, so eye color. So if I say eye color, I mean, there's no color. So that's why there's a no color block up front. Is you like giving a name that is not right, so you won't see the color block. But let's say I have a sky blue, I have a light blue too. If I say light blue, it will pop the color block like up front. And also if I say like I mean, like, let's say, what if we say pink? I mean, like, pink is already. So now, if the right name or the right keyword, so in Visual Studio Code, you're going to see the color block. That's also how we can define it. So, and also the other thing in CSS, if you say color, color will always apply to the text. So that is a main like a color up, I mean like so application to our CSS, you know. So we have if you want to fill it up, that will be another property, that will be background. But whenever we say color at the top, we have learned it like whenever we say the color, that will always apply to the text. That's so like important to know. So color will be, what if I say like a little bit make it different? I mean like, what if we just say red color? So if I save it, now you can see that promotion are started, so that will be like a change to color. But of course, I mean like the border is changed to red too, but keep in mind that like whenever we say color, that will always apply to the text. I mean border, we will have like a border color, you know, so that will I will like talk about it later. So that will be like start with the color, and also you can like give a name. So if you're like a red, yellow, and so all these are like a keyword, so that will be the first color property and values that we can set in CSS. So, and also I want to show you like a cascading, because I mean like we have knowledge about the like a different specificity, you know, so last week we have learned. So if you type one more color property, and then let's say this time I'm gonna say like a blue. So if I save it, the red is like a ignore, and the blue is make a more priority. So that is a why like I mean like cascading CSS, you know. So that will be like from start from the top. If like the rendering start with the color red, but if it sees like a same element, same level, same priority, same importance, so that will be cascading. The bottom one will always make a priority, and it will apply to the CSS. So that is a cascading. Also, if you see like a different elements, different rules are applying, so that will be, keep in mind that the bottom one will always take a priority in your CSS rule. So that's why we are seeing the blue is applied. So that will be another thing. And also color will apply to the text. So okay guys, I mean like, so the other thing, I mean like, so now we have like in my topic we talk about it like I mean name or keyword. So like I said, any name it will pop. You can put it like let's say the name will be, even we have like a list, you know, but a little bit different, like I mean like, so that will be what if like I mean like bluish. So do we have a blue violin? Also we have a blue violin, so that will be, if I save it, now we're gonna have this color. So the point is there's a name, you can just type it. If the name is correct, the keyword is correct, you're gonna see the color like a block. So that is one way to define a color in CSS. Another thing, so the next one will be, I mean, has value or HEX. So that will be like a stand for hexadecimal, you know. So hexadecimal. So let me put it up like I mean like the notepad. I want to show you like a hex is like a hexadecimal. So that will be hexadecimal. So I mean like if you say hex, always like I mean it's a 6 digits. Let's say if you say like a pentagon, so pentagon will be like a 5. Like if you see the Pentagon building, you know, it has like a 5 sides. So that's why we say pentagon. So hexagon will be the 6. So now the hex value, it will always build in 6 digits. I mean, that's when we say the hex value. So if I say hex or hexadecimal, so that will be 6-sided or 6 values, 6 digits. So we're gonna have in like a web technology, in digital, it always based on the RGB value. So that will be, like I said, 6 digits. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that will be like a hexadecimal. So if I like type it like that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also in CSS, if you want to use the hash value to like add the CSS property or value or color, I mean like, so we need to add hash tag at the front as well. So that is like a syntax, like the rules, so if without the hashtag it will not apply. So whenever we start it, we have to start with the like a hashtag, and then like I said, if you want to like your color concept with the hexadecimal, so that will be 6 digits, so there will be 1 2 3 4 5 6, and also in hexadecimal for color, so we can combine it with the 1 2 3, that will be numeric, and also A to F, so that will be A B C D F, but it has to be 6 digits, so what I mean is that you can mix it with the A to F and then 1 to 9. So sorry, that will be 0 to 9, so 0 also included, so that will be hexadecimal. Let's say, what if I take this hash value, sorry, the hash is this hashtag, guys, so a hash is a hash value, so sometimes a little bit pronunciation, so that will be, I will copy that value, and then what if I paste it, I will type same one, color, but this time, like I say, I don't want it like a keyword or name for our color, but I want it like a hash value, so let's say I type it like a, start with the hashtag, and you can type it 1 2 3 4 5 6. If the 6th digit is complete, now you're gonna see color block like a pop at front. So that's a Visual Studio, it's a good thing. If that is the right value, it's going to show you the color block. Once I save it, if I go back to my so my website, now there's a little bit dark value, because I just want to show you, so, and also it always based on the RGB, red, green, blue. So what I mean is so we have a 6 digits, so if I bring it down, RGB, it's also stand for like a red and green and blue. So because if you take it like a red, so R, so G for like a green, B for blue, so that will be RGB. So, and also this like a 6 digits are representing to the RGB. So the first 2 will be 1 and 2 will be red, and 3 and A, so any value number, so that will be representing to the green, and also BF or any value at the last 2 digits, so that will be blue. So whenever you break it down to hash value, so that will be red and green and the blue, so that will be RGB. That's why I say so always based on the red, green, blue, so that's why, so it's showing like a red, green, blue, guys. So that's why if you see the color, so let's say you break it down, this is a little bit dark, because if you take away the, let's say, what if we just say red to be 0 and blue to be 0, and also red, green, blue, sorry, so green will be 0, and the blue, I want it, like I said, we can use A to F as well. So in hash value, if you want to full color, so that will be, so blue will be FF. If I say that way, it will be really, really bright blue. So because it is, we are not taking red to be 0, green to be 0, and blue to be FF. So FF is a blue. So that's why if I go back to my browser, now you can see that really, really the bright blue is applying to our text, So that's how like a hexadecimal or hash values are applying to our CSS, and also it always based on the red, green, blue RGB color. So there's one thing to know, guys. So that's why so start with the hashtag and also complete with the 6 digits. So now you see the FF. Let's say if I mix it with like a red FF, so let's say in so the hexadecimal, the value, if you come from graphic designer, you know it, so so that will be, if I say FF, if I save it, so that will apply to my so that will be like a little bit pink color, because we are mixing with the FF for the color and then FF for the blue, red. So when we mix it, so we're gonna get this value. So that is how like a the hash values are built, and also so color theory is also a really big topic, but for now just keep in mind that we have one more CSS property and the rule. So that will start with the hash, and also it has to be 6 digits, so it will based on the red, green, blue color. So that will so the basic things that we need to know. And also in hash value, if you have repeated if you see on my screen, so I have repeated like a repeated FF. and also green repeated 00 F repeated. So what I mean is if I repeated that pattern, so let's say, let me put it in the notepad. So hashtag, I start with the FF, I have a 00, and also I have FF, so that will be red, green, blue. So I have a repeated pattern, you see, because red is repeated FF, and 0 green is repeated FF, blue is repeated. If that is repeated in this way, so in CSS we can shorten it, because like I said, in the previous tutorial, we can shorten like a border to be like a 1 pixel border color, all this combined into one line. So it's the same thing in the hash value, so we can shorten to a 3 digits. So like I said, I mean, it has to be 6 digits. It's a good practice to put it like a 6 digits, but sometimes you're gonna see it like only 3 digits. I mean, let's say in this repeated pattern, what I can do is for red FF, I can just write it like a F only. So for like a red, green, so green 00, I can type it like only just a 0, and also blue FF, so I can just type it like a F. I mean, so now you're gonna say, oh, you say like a 6 digits, but now why? I mean, like we only have a 3 digits. I mean, because like I said, in CSS we can shorten the code, so that is how computer is a little bit more intelligent, so we can use that way as well. But I mean, keep a 6 digits so that it's more so it's good for other developers. I mean, so you are putting the standard rules, so but if you see a 3 digits just like that, they are shortening the repeated pattern. So FOF, so if I say now F00 FF is a purple, if I take it my browser, let's say I will remove it, like I said, I mean, so 0, I will remove it. If I remove F, now hashtag and FOF, it's the same. If I save it, now you see that same color is applied. Like I said, it will shorten the 6 digits, you can shorten it that way. But and also the other thing is that you cannot shorten it if a different repeated pattern, so like I said, oh, you say we can shorten F5, and then you say that 5 3 2, and also I mean, you're gonna type it A B, so there's no way to shorten it. I mean, so this is not same value, is not repeating. F and 5 is not the same, so that's why if you want to shorten it, it has to be same number. Let's say if you use 5 now you can use that only 5. If you use a 2 so that is repeated. If you use a BB, so that is repeated. So that's what I mean, so to be repeated, so it's the same number, so that, and then we're gonna shorten it. So now what we can do is in 5 and then example, so what we can do is a 5 2 and B, so that is what we're gonna have it, the color. So if let's say if you copy it, and then if I apply it here, so that will be color. If I paste it, now 52B is a shortened code for the 5522 and BB. If I apply it, now you see the color block is a purple. So once I save it, now you see that the purple is applied. So that is how a short form for our hex value, guys. Another things to know. And also now we will continue to the the next topic. I mean, it's already 18 minutes, so we have to talk about a lot. So that will be hex value, it's done. So, and also the XSL and RGB. So I will continue with the XSL in CS. I mean, so sorry, the Visual Studio Code. Once you type it XSL, so you have to start with the color. Once you type it like a HSL and then press tab key, now you're gonna see that in Visual Studio Code hue and also the saturation lightness value. So if you save it that way, it will not apply. I mean, it will not apply to any color, because it's just like a mock-up that gives you the template. So you're gonna add your value. So Visual Studio Code is good. So now I'm gonna define it. So HSL is start with the hue. Hue is you have a color wheel, and that will be start from 0 to 360. So if I say a hue, my degree to define it, so I can type it 0 to 360, any value in between. So let's say if I type it what if we say 100, so that will be color wheel 100. And also if I type it saturation, so even in saturation, what I want is let's say I want it a saturation will be 50, and also the lightness. So lightness is how like light and dark, so dark will be, what if I say like a 50. So once you type it that way, now you're gonna see that like a HSL it's already applied. So if I save it, now it's a green is already, if the right the CSS syntax is correct, so you're gonna see the block. So now here, so if I save it, bang, now it's gonna apply. Actually, so HSL should apply to my color, but for now, so you're not completing the so the rule set. So because I still have to add the percentage, so in 50, so what I have to add is I'm say saturation to be 50%, and also I have to add the what if the lightness to be 50%. So that's what we need. If I save it, so now you're gonna start seeing the thing is start making a difference, because it's a little bit syntax error. So sometimes it pop the block color, because just now I said that if you see the block color, it will apply because that is correct. But just now, like I show you, you're not for adding, you forgot the add the a percentage. In HSL we need to add the percentage sign, also this sign, so that will be percentage, 50%, and then also 50% in our saturation. In our degree, even you can add it, we can try 100 degree. If I save it, it's gonna say in the CSS we can define it what is the degree. If I say 45 degree, so that will be in the color wheel, that will be a little bit brown color, because I've been referring to the Google, so that we have a CSS Google course as well. Now you can see that this screen, so there's a wheel that you can rotate it. So that will be start with the 0 degree, and also a color saturation and left and right. So now you can see that the degree 20%, 50%, that's what a HSL is, how we're gonna define it. So important that you need to add the percentage, and also you need to add the degree. Even we do not need it, but like I said, make always the best practice, so that in debugging or fixing your error, that will be more easier. So make it consistent. So that will be 45 degrees, start from 0 to any value within the 360, and a saturation, that will be 0 to 100, because saturation 0 to 100, and lightness, that will be 0 to 100%. Any value you can add it that way. So that will be HSL value, because I want to show you different ways, because as we are learning, you're gonna see when you joining a company, or you start seeing the different values, so that you know what is the so the colors are defined in CSS. So okay guys, so to continue, the next one will be RGB. So that's like I said, in color for web technology, in digital devices, except from a printing, in printing we have a CMYK, but in web technology we we rarely use the CMYK, because RGB is what we need to know. So that's why RGB is the main topic. So next one is a RGB. So if you type it color, so if you press tab key, so that's what we're gonna say is a RGB. Once you add RGB, press tab key, it's the same thing like a Visual Studio Code give you the value. So what is the R green B, you can add it, but right now if you save it, it will not apply. Like I said, it's just a simple a template, here the Visual Studio Code give it to you. So now what we're gonna do is now we're gonna add the value. In RGB, it's a very RGB is you come from graphic design, so we always start with the RGB 0 to 255, 255. So that will be RGB value. And also green, so green will be in RGB, we have a 0 to 255. And also the other blue is the same thing, blue will be 0 to 255. So any value you can add it in between. So now, so that's an example. So let's say 0 to 255. What if we just start with the so red 255, so let's say to test it out, if I say a 0, and also the red, green, and blue to be 0, green and blue, I put it a 0, so that will be no value. So if I say 255 to my red, if I save it, so bang, now you're gonna see the red will apply. So that's why in RGB, so we will start with the red value, green, and then a blue. I want to like I can show you the Figma and the color picker. You know, I don't want to show it right now because I mean, like maybe you're not using the like a Visual Studio Code. You don't have I mean, like so the I mean, like the same like a technique to apply your color. I mean, like so that's why I want to show you the how to write a code. You know, if you have to edit it in different software, so we need to know how like a basic structure of the color like CSS rules. That's why you always type with RGB and then also in between, so 255 0 to 255 any value. Let's say you want to mix with the green, like I said, 255 and 0 any value. Let's say what if 100. If I mix it this time in the RGB, we do not need the percentage. I mean, so only the percentage will apply to HSL. So there's other things to know as well. So we can type just I mean, just I mean, at the full digit, you know, so 195. So all these digits will apply to RGB. If I save it, now red and a little bit green. What if we push it like a green to be 200? Let's see it. So now it changed to a little bit purple or pink color. So that's how RGB is built. So this is a basic like CSS color like a properties and the value, guys. I mean, like, so that we need to know. And also I think this time I can bring it up like I mean, what is the next topic that we need to learn is transparency. Okay, so transparency also like I mean, like, so the graphic design we have I mean, Photoshop, we have a layer, you know. So if you like opacity, you can play around. So it's the same in CSS. We call it alpha channel, or CSS value will be A. So what I mean is that if I type it in the bottom, so if I say like you see that in color, so it's the same thing. If I type it like I mean, like, so like but alpha value in hexadecimal, it's a little bit to start with the I mean, like, so RGB, you know. So if you say RGB, that will be complete value, the complete color, but you want it like a alpha transparent, so you gonna type it A. So that will be like combining your alpha. So that's for CSS rule. So if I press tab key, now you're gonna see that we have a template start with the red, green, blue, and at the end we have this alpha value. So in RGBA, so now red, I will put it like a 255 to 0. So that will be, what if we just say 100? And also green, I'm gonna say like to start it out, you know, so it's 50%. And I'm gonna say blue, what if we just say like I mean, so 88, sorry, that will be 80. And for red, green, blue, and alpha, so alpha is I mean, like, so this time it's not like a 0 to 100, it's a different from our Photoshop, you know. So that will be like a 0 to like a 1. I mean, what I mean is that you can start with the 0 and 0.5, or you can end with the 1. So 1 equal to 100% and 0 equal to like 0%. So that is our alpha value or transparency value in like a RGB value, you know. So that's how we're gonna apply it. So if I do it, so that will be 0.5. If I say 0.5, that is a 50%. Even you can say like I mean, like 50%, but for now let's take it, I mean, like, so keep it that way, so that we are keeping like a standard rule. So if I save it, now it's a like I mean, like, so transparent is like a 50%, and our color it's a little bit like I mean, like, so the brown color. So what if we just put it like to see it a little bit different, 255 for our red. I'm going to remove it green, so that will be 0, blue to 0. So I want to see if I remove the like alpha value, I'm going to see it like a complete like a bright red. But if I edit the alpha value, like I said, 0.5, 0 to 1, so that will be 0.5. If I save it, now a little bit faded red color, it's applying to our like I mean, like, so the text and the border, you know. So that is how like an alpha value is added in the like RGB CSS rule. So like I said, if you put it like a 1, so it will really bright red. Now you see that it's because a transparency value is 1 equal to 100%. So that's why if you say like a 0 here, you're gonna completely like you won't see anything. If I save it 0, now the text and all the border is gone, because transparency 0 equal to 0 like a percent. I mean, so that's why it's removing. So that's just how transparency works in the RGBA or like a based on RGB, you know. So we are adding one more like a different with the comma, one more value at the end, so that will be alpha value. And also in HSL it is the same. In HSL, it's I mean, if you edit comma with the like so that will be in the HSL. If I edit comma and if I say like 0.5, so to see the difference, you know. So I think we need to bring it to the bottom because like I said, it's a cascading, so that will be the bottom one will always apply. So if I take that way, it's the same thing. I think I will like a color degree. So what if we just say like 0? If I save it, so yeah, I think 0 would not be good. So what if like a 90 degree? So to set test it, yeah, it's the same like so alpha I will remove it for now in HSL. If I save it, so I'm going to see the green color a little bit bright. But if I add the alpha value in my HSL 0.5, it's going to fade it like a little bit faded out. If I say alpha value, it's the same thing in RGB. So that will, if I say 0, completely it will be removed because the transparency is 0. So if I save it, so now you're gonna see nothing. I mean, so that's how we apply in our color. So that is alpha. But you see that in HSL, I am not adding A. I mean, like, even you can edit A, or I mean, like, if you save it, so it is the same. I mean, like, you can edit, you know. So that will be like an alpha value, but if you ignore it, so it's the same. So in HSL it applies. So that is how alpha value it's adding. I mean, in RGB, I don't think the RGB, let me remove it. If you remove the A, it will not apply. So RGB, yeah, even apply. I mean, like, you can remove a like a code, you know. But like I said, I mean, keep it like a same consistent I mean, like the technique, you know, so that it will be standard for every developer. So to do the HSLA, so that will be alpha value. So that will be, we're gonna edit like a whatever degree, so that 50 degree, and like I said, keep it consistent and organized. And then so that will be saturation. I want it like 100 saturation, full bright color. Lightness, I want it really bright, so that will be 100. So don't forget to add a percentage, and that will be percent. And also alpha, like I said, from 0 to 0.5. So what if we just say 0.5, so that we can see different. If I save it, now you're gonna see color a little bit different. So if I save it, it's a little bit faded. I mean, I think so. What we miss is 100%. So saturation. So if I remove the HSL, if I save it, so sorry, I mean, so the color here, it just it's a white color because of 50 degree, you know. So let me put it like what if we just say 90 degree? So it's the same. So what if we just say like 50 degree? I don't know why. It's I think we should remove the A, and then if I save it, so 50 degree, 100%, I think. So that will be lightning. Well, because the lightness 100 is like a totally white, you know. So that's why. So that will be 50% for lightness. Yeah. So that's why, because if you are adding like a light to the really like a bright light, you know, so you won't see anything. So that's why I'm seeing the white only. So if I like edit back my A alpha value, if I edit like my lightness to be 50%, and also alpha, if I edit like a 0.5, now it's gonna a little bit fade. If you want it really faint, let's say 0.2, I'm gonna see it like that faint. So that is how we can add alpha value in our CSS. So in RGB, so it add with the A. HSL, it can add with the A. And also, what if I mean like we want to edit like a hash value? So and at the bottom, I'm gonna edit like a color and equal to what if I just say like I mean like so FF and then 00 and then 00, and then it will be start with the hashtag. So that will be hash value. If I save it, that will be totally bright like red. But I want to add like in hash. I mean, we can edit. So it's a simply 2-digit. You just edit. So that will be like I mean, like, so it's the same. You know, 0 to like A B C D F E F. You know, so that value you can edit. So what I mean is the 0. Like a 0, or you can edit FF. So if I say FF, if I save it, that is the 2 digits, the last one is an alpha value. So I mean, so in hexadecimal, it's a little bit like a little bit like conflicts, you know, because you're adding like you say like a hash is a 6 digit, now adding alpha is a 2 more digits, that will be 8 digits. So I think so in hash value, I mean, it's not really good practice to add mix with the alpha value. I mean, so that's why people will use it. If you add an alpha, always use the RGBA, that will be standard. I mean, so it is a very clear and organized, so that we write our code in the more like easy to navigate, you know. So that's a good practice. You can add it in hash. I mean, like I said, FF, the last 2 digit will be like a bright, like the full percentage. If you say like what if we just say like 50, so even like 55. And also if I save it, now it's a little bit faded. And also in the Google course, they talk about it like alpha value, you know, so that will be here. So so it's a little bit different with the like a hash in like transparency. If you say like so F will be like here you say that like I think here that will be like a little bit faded, like 80%. It's only the not the full percentage, you know, so it's only like applying to the like 50% alpha, it's at 80. So it's a little bit hard to like guess it, you know. So you're writing like 80, but actually it's a 50%. So that's why hash like adding the alpha is not good practice. So that's why you keep it your hash value. It's the same, just like that. So that will be F00, so 6 digits. If I save it, so if you want it like an alpha, so that will be in like like alpha value. So that will be like so RGB or HSL, that will be better to use with the like a alpha or transparent value. So that is a basic like color and the transparency. I think that will be, now I think I can bring up like a Visual Studio Code color picker and the Figma. I want to show you. So now we have a color block, all the color at the front, you know. So in Visual Studio Code, so it's very good that if you mouse over the color block, now you're gonna see like the Visual Studio Code color picker. So the good thing is, let's say now I have this hash value digit that I'm writing, but I can easily move my picker left, right, up and down, so that I can quickly change my color. And also if I change it like a color in this like a big like a block, you know, so you have this value change. If I bring it down a little bit dark value, even if I have this left, the right side, I have this transparency slider, and I have the color wheel. So it's a very easy to like move your color. If you, let's say in hash value, if I do not know, let's say now it's a green, if I want to change it red, I have to like guess it like a little bit dark red will be start with the red will be FF, or it's a little bit tough. But in Visual Studio Code, once you just mouse over it in the block, so now we're gonna have a color picker. Simply you can just move around your picker and then slide it your color wheel from top to bottom. You can go to your blue, like a pink, you just select it, and then also like adding the transparency. So if you want it a little bit faded out, so now that is adding the transparency. Now you can see that from 6 digits to like a color picker is helping it becomes like a transparency, adding more 2 digits. So that is how easy. And also the other thing in Visual Studio Code, if you like see at the top, if you don't want a transparency, you can bring it up, so that will maintain in our hash value, the 6 digits. But if you click on the top, if I click it, let's say one click, now you see that the bottom code is changed, and also the top, it like from hash tag 6 digits to now HSL. So that is a good thing that in color picker, you can easily one click away, and then you are like defining your value. Because you want to see, hey, what if the hash value will be this 241,206. If you want to get the hash value, so the hash value, so we just click it. Now there's a value that equal to the like RGB. If you want it RGB, so now you just click it again. So when you click one, so that will rotate RGB, HSL. Just now we have even like HWB. So I think HW will be, we'll talk, that's not in our topic too. So RGB. So if you want to edit alpha in RGB, you can simply in the color picker, you can just slide it down. If you want 0 transparency, you can just slide it down. If you just click away in your Visual Studio Code, now you can see that from hash value to RGB and even edit transparency 0. It's a very, very efficient, very quick way to define your color. If you bring it up your slider, it will change your code too. Now you can see that the alpha is automatically removed, and then now you're gonna have this RGB value. So that is how the visual color picker is really efficient. You can slide it, the transparency, you can move like a color wheel. So let's say if you quickly move it, now you're gonna have a green. If you wanted transparency, you easily come to picker and then you can just slide it down. So you're gonna have a little bit like a transparency, and then now you're gonna have this value for your transparency. So that is more on a graphic design. If you use a Photoshop, it's the same. That will be using the color picker in Visual Studio Code. I want to show you another thing in a Figma too. Figma also is the same, because you're gonna have this Figma design tool completely build your website so when we really you get into the professional job, so that's how people are building. They start with the Figma, Photoshop, Illustrator, or now in Adobe Adobe XD. So they're gonna start design in website in this the different software. So in Figma, so there is also a standard tools as well. Figma is popular. So if you want the color in Figma, so let's say if I want a color block, you can just come to this bottom tool, you just click it any so if you come from graphic design, you can select this tool and then click and drag it. Now you're gonna have this fill a box in your Figma. So if you want to add the color, now you come to this fill column here, so click it. Now you're gonna have a color picker. So now it's the same thing in Figma. So what we're gonna have is that we can slide it easily, and also we can slide it color wheel, and we can slide it down our transparency. And also the good thing is that in Figma, and also it's the same as a Visual Studio, you can have a HSL, you can have a RGB, even you can have a hash value. So once you change it, let's say if I want it red in hash value, so if I hash and then if I bright red, as I put it that way, that is my hash value, and then I can just simply copy this value, and then now you're gonna apply it to your CSS. So if I save it like a color, you copy from your Figma, and then you can just simply paste it. So once you paste it, you have to edit if hash value, you have to edit a hashtag. If I save it, now you're gonna have the value. So that's why in Figma, even you can see that all the in a professional job, so you're gonna have this a color template. You can just simply select any color. If you double click it, you're gonna have this color block, and then you can click it. If I customize it, now you're gonna have this value. You can just simply select it, copy, and if you want it even is CSS, they have this CSS code, RGBA. So it's a good thing for Figma. So that's why Figma is more on a digital product too. So that's why even you want a CSS code, simply you can just copy it here. You don't have to write it. So that will be, if you want it RGB, it's the same thing, 67, 170, you can just simply copy it. And also if you want it HSL, you can just simply copy the number from here. That is how Figma and built for web design too. It's the same. You can pick it any color in Figma, or you can use it a Visual Studio Code. So I want to show you because Figma will be, and also another tool in future. I think we're gonna learn it too. So that will be how color pickers are used for our CSS rules guide. So that will be hashtag, hash value, RGB, RGBA, HSL. That's how we're gonna define it. Okay, so even if it's been for 4 minutes, I think, so that will be so the text, so the fill, stroke. So I think the fill and stroke, it's the same once you learn it, all the basic rule, it's the same. Now it's really, really easy. If you want it fill, color for our dialog box. So in CSS, we will say background. It's not color this time. If you want it like the fill background color, we can say background color. That will be color properties for background color. And then now it's the same thing. Now you know that the color value here we have learned it. I mean, you can just say if keyword, if you want it like a yellow, if I say like a yellow, you can type it background color. If I save it now, that is you want the text color, so that will be color. If you wanted the background fill color, so that will be background dash color, and any name you can type it. Now here's yellow. So even if it's the other color in the hash values is background color, let's say you want it like even like a F0F. If I save it, now you're gonna have it that's value. Like I said, I mean there's a FF like a 00, and that will be FF value. If I save it, now you're gonna have it this value. I mean it's a little bit ugly for now, but what if we change it to a little bit green using the color picker, and I'm changing it to that way. If I save it, so now you're gonna see that background. So that is how we can apply background or fill color in CSS. Always use the background color. It's different from a color for the text. Background color will be fill background. And also the other thing like a border. I mean, so color is applying to our like a border, but in CSS, if you want to define a border color, we have properties called like I mean, so that will be border color. I mean, if I say border, and that will be border color. So now, I mean, even we have learned like if I say border, we can shorten the like a border width, border value, and everything. But if you only want the border color, I mean, what we can do is a border and dash color. So if I use this property that will only apply to the border color, now I can say, I mean, instead of the red, let's say if you want it orange, I can type it like an orange color. Or if you have a RGB value, I can click like a picker and then use the RGB, and then I can click it RGB if I want it like let's say if I want it like a blue and then really bright blue. So if I click away, now you're gonna have an RGB border color blue. So that is how like a border color. So we're gonna apply it to our border, and also background color will be background. So if I save it, now you're gonna see that way. So guys, I think so we have different topics to talk about it. So the text and the shadow and all the codes and everything. So I think it's already like 47 minutes. I think I will have like a part 3 tutorial, so maybe like a continue in the next week, and then so that will be better because it's gonna be really long, so it does not like taking too long, also not good. So that so that will be like it's good that if we separate it to 2-3 videos for color, so that one we're gonna have a more like a knowledge about it. So if I squeeze it, so we're gonna forget it and we're gonna have to ignore some topic, so that's why I think I will stop the tutorials here, guys. So that's how the color built in CSS. I hope you like the tutorial. I hope you learned something. If you do so, please like it, share it, and also give us a thumbs up, comment it. So share it with your friends and family. So whatever, so that will support to our channel, and make sure to turn on notification. And thank you for watching the tutorials, and I hope to see you in next tutorial.